It was a case of from worst to first for one of the world's best two-wheelers in Daytona, and Ernie IRVAN makes it 2 in a row in Winston Cup and Tour in Atlanta. Those stories plus a whole lot more straight ahead on Race Day live from Daytona Beach, Florida. It's been a full week of two-wheel action at the World Center of Speed, and now it's time to head home after this afternoon's finale. Hello, everybody. I'm Pat Patterson, and welcome to Daytona Beach, Florida, and to the Classics Auto Museum. It seems like we were just here a couple of weeks ago, okay, so maybe we were, but this time we've traded our stock cars for motorcycles, and the 1994 edition of the Camel Motorcycle Week got underway last weekend, and it wrapped up this afternoon with the grand finale, the Daytona 200 by a rye. Mark Allen has the highlights from that race, which you saw live right here on TNN.
Strategy is almost everything in this race. The strategy for Yamaha-mounted Eddie Lawson was to keep in touch with Ducati-mounted Troy CORSER on the 19. The Ducati is narrower and easier on tires, and with full course cautions not likely, staying in the leader's draft was critical. In truth, the lead flip-flopped several times early on among those two riders. Then second-place Lawson came in, and a rear tire-only stop became a two-tire stop when it was noticed the front tire was chunking. A disastrous 45-second visit to pit road, and the defending champion was way back. The only U.S. bike in the field expired on lap 23, Miguel Duhamel, the helpless Harley-Davidson rider. When pole sitter Pascal Picot stopped on the course, he did some quick repair work himself and limped to the pits for more permanent chain repairs. A big offer Bernhard Schick brought out the red flag on lap 32, allowing everyone to change tires. For Schick, no broken bones. Soon into the restart, Russell, the 92 Rye winner, was in the lead, but not for long as CORSER retook the point in the International Horseshoe. It was seesaw like that for a while, and the Ducati rider was acquitting himself very well, considering this was his first Daytona 200. With 10 laps to go, Russell dove in for a new rear tire as the first of the leaders to make their final stop. When CORSER pitted, he was a bit slower than Russell, and that made all the difference. With 5 laps to go, Russell's margin was 8 seconds ahead, and the patented Daytona last lap scramble never happened as the World Superbike champion made his lone scheduled U.S. appearance a golden one with a comfortable margin of victory. Remarkably, he had started 62nd. A closing CORSER got second easily over Eddie Lawson. Doug Polen was 4th, and Jamie James was 5th. This is Mark Allen reporting for Race Day.
Thanks, Mark. This week's Mopar High Performer Award goes to Scott Russell for his performance in today's Superbike event. Even when you're a world champion, it's still pretty impressive to go from 62nd on the starting spot all the way to first, and that's exactly what the Kawasaki rider did to take the win. Congratulations go to Scott Russell, this week's Mopar High Performer. And we wanted to have Scott with us. We hope he's going to be able to join us a little bit later in the show. But one of the big stories in Daytona was Miguel Duhamel and all that they went through to get that Harley-Davidson ready to go today. It did not have the greatest of performance, but nevertheless, it's a big story. Let's take a look at it.
Pat, each and every year, hundreds of thousands of bikers come to Daytona for Bike Week, but few, if any, realize or go to the races out at the Speedway. But maybe that's because they never had a home team to cheer for. Who is going to win the race on Sunday?
What race?
The motorcycle race.
I have no idea.
Oh, no. Jap bikes always win.
Normally, it is a Japanese-made bike that wins because that's what dominates the field. The only American-made bike, Harley-Davidson, doesn't run Superbike. That is until now. Harley is joining the field with Miguel Duhamel on the hog's back, an assignment that he took because he liked what he saw in the team.
The enthusiasm of all the team, everybody around the project with real enthusiasm, and I believe as much as they do that we can make this bike as competitive as any other bike out there right now. It'll take a little time, and I emphasize little because I'm just pushing them.
The bike is new, and it will be a learning process for a while, something Miguel Duhamel, a veteran and a winner, has the patience to endure.
You have to prepare yourself, and that's why I think some people are really surprised. They go, aren't you getting, mad or disappointed? I go, no, I was already, knew it going in. It was going to be problems and difficulties with the machine. I mean, it's a brand new machine.
But no matter how slow they start off, the fan support is already there, because word on the street is that Harley's finally joined the field. So Hamill could be an adopted American hero very soon.
But that man can ride. He can ride that bike. He's one of the best in the country from what I read up on him. So, I mean, put a quality Harley underneath him, and with his driving skills, he's going to do great.
So many of these people that came down for bike weeks will remember 1994 as the year that the Harley Hog took to the track.
Now, let me tell you something. When they get that bike right, and believe me, they got a lot of money invested. It's going to be good. So keep your eye on the Harley-Davidson as they come up through the Superbike ranks. Coming up next on this edition of Race Day, we've got highlights from this afternoon's Winston Cup race in Atlanta, and we'll have the results from one of the West Coast's biggest sprint car races of the year. So don't you go anywhere.
Race Day is brought to you in part by Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light. It doesn't get any better than this. By Jiffy Lube. If it doesn't say Jiffy Lube, it isn't. And by Mopar, Chrysler Corporation Parts, and the Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge Truck, Jeep, and Eagle dealers who sell and install them.
Welcome back live to Daytona Beach, Florida, everybody. It was just 3 weeks ago that we were here for the season opener of the Winston Cup Series, and those guys have been nonstop ever since. This afternoon's featured event was the number 4 on the 94 schedule, and it took the tour to Atlanta Motor Speedway. Jason Young has the highlights.
Loy Allen Jr. didn't even make the race last weekend in Richmond, but he was back in a big way this week in Atlanta with a pole-winning new track record speed. He wasn't a factor early on, however, as Terry Labonte in the Kellogg's car and Ernie Irvan jumped out ahead of the field. It didn't take long for the first yellow to fly. John Andretti got a nudge and hit the wall. A few laps later, and NASCAR was waving the black flag at Rusty Wallace. The windshield had come loose on the Miller machine, and he was headed to the pits. A little tape, and he was back on his way, 1 lap down. Meanwhile, the new leader was Jeff Bodine, but not for long. His Exide Batteries machine developed a problem, which ended his day. By lap 100, pit stops were needed under the green. Before the service, rookie Jeff Burton was the front runner. When pit stops were complete, Irvan had his Texaco Ford back out front. The third yellow of the afternoon didn't fly until lap 208 when Dale Jarrett broke loose in turn 3. Brett Bodine was at the wrong place at the wrong time and was collected. Less than 10 laps under green, and the yellow was flying again. We'll take a ride with Derek Cope as he slammed the wall, causing caution number 4. Cope was okay, but the Fingerhut Ford was done. Heading into the final circuits, it looked like the race might go the rest of the way without a caution. That was the wrong answer when Bobby Hamilton lost control in the Kendall machine. This happened with less than 25 laps to go. Back to green, and it was all Irvan as he held on for his second win in a row. Second went to Morgan Shepherd, followed by Darrell Waltrip. Rookie Jeff Burton took 4th, and finishing 5th 1 lap down was Mark Martin. This is Jason Young reporting for Race Day.
All right, thanks, J-Man. Take a look at our Jiffy Lube point standings. Ernie Irvan pads his lead in the Winston Cup title chase, while Mark Martin moves ahead of Dale Earnhardt for second. Morgan Shepherd jumps from the 10th spot to 4th in the points, while Terry Labonte holds down the 5th spot with 551 points. Now, if you're going to start a racing season up, why not go ahead and do it with a bang? That's what the Northern Auto Racing Club did this weekend when it opened its 94 season with one of its most popular races of the year. It's the Mini Gold Cup. And in Friday night's 30-lap shootout at the Silver Dollar Speedway, the Buckeye Bullet Dave Blaney led 22 circuits to take the win. He beat out Brent KAEDING, Jimmy Sills, Greg DeCaires, and Todd Ventura. Then, in last night's 40-lap feature, it was Jimmy Sills taking the big win. Only 12 cars were running at the finish. 2nd through 5th belonged to Darrell HANESTAD, Paul McMahan, Lee Brewer, and Shane Scott. Good show out there. We come back, we'll have more on Bike Weeks here in Daytona, but first, here's just a reminder that coming up next Sunday morning on Race Day, we'll be on the road again with live reports from IMSA's 12 Hours of Sebring. Then, for the first time ever, we'll pack up on the same day and head to Gainesville, Florida for the evening edition of Race Day to bring you all the latest news from the NHRA Finals and talk with 3-time Funny Car champion John Force. So we'll have complete coverage of next Sunday's Busch Grand National Race in Martinsville, Virginia as well, so be sure to join us. We'll be back with more Race Day right after this. right, welcome back live to Daytona Beach, Florida, everybody, and thanks to the folks here at Classic Auto Museum for having us out again. This place is great, and not only got the cars, but they got the bikes here as well, so make sure that next time you're in Daytona, stop by Classics and take a look at this place. You know, the IndyCars open up their season next weekend down at Surfers Paradise, opening race for them. It should be really exciting, and they have a new president. His name is Andrew Craig. Recently, we had a chance to sit down and talk with the new president of IndyCar.
For now, the ship continues to sail in the direction charted by his predecessor.
I would certainly hope that within 6 months you'll start to see some very positive results from Andrew Craig.
Whether you consider IndyCar strong or in need of an infusion of new blood and ideas, Craig's message has been well defined: get the ship running leaner and more efficient. But ultimately, what's in it for the fans who plunk down cold cash for tickets or invest 2 hours in front of the tube?
I think what race fans want more than anything else is they want really good value for money. We've all been to races that are disappointing, where you felt pushed and shoved and watched a race that was boring and uninteresting. I think our primary responsibility to race fans is to give them top quality racing that represents great value for money, so they leave the track or on TV or leave the race and say, that was terrific.
Unquestionably, the most terrific show is the Indianapolis 500, sanctioned by USAC, run by Tony George, the Speedway's president. When Craig was hired, George resigned from the IndyCar board. But Craig won't let that develop into a schism between the two parties, even though George and USAC just announced plans to form a new series, possibly as early as 1996, which will include the Indianapolis 500.
I know that Tony has some very clear views, and obviously I respect those views, some very clear views about the sport and how it should develop. I intend, if he so wishes, and I believe he does from what I've said to him, from the discussions we've had so far, I intend that he and I should have a very regular and very open dialogue.
Based on the number of teams planning to run the series this year, things look pretty rosy in the short term. But just how healthy some of those teams can be is where Craig feels his greatest impact can come in getting the IndyCar message out in the right way.
I rather suspect right now that a lot of the time our teams are banging against closed doors. Our job, I think, is to at least make sure those doors are open.
It would seem that Craig's door will always be open to teams and sponsors who drive IndyCar.
Hey, they got Michael back. Nigel's there. Should be a great series this year. We'll look forward to watching them, and good luck to Mr. Craig with all that he'll be working with this year. Now, while today's action at Bike Week centered around the top-of-the-line Superbike machines, yesterday's eyes were focused on the AMA Supercross series for the second straight year. Jeremy McGrath has been dominating that series, and everyone wanted to know, could he keep his win streak alive?
In the 125 race, it was the number 92 Honda of Mike Brown that jumped out to the early lead over the grass infield turned Supercross track. The guy that figured the course out the quickest was Jimmy Button on a Suzuki as he got up front and took the 125 portion of the show. Ezra Lusk was in second, followed by Tim Ferry, John Dowd, and Brown was fifth. Then it was time for the 250s to take to the dirt, but some guys wanted to go asphalt racing as the field stumbled into the first turn. Somehow, Mike Craig and Jeff Stanton got up front, but they weren't alone. A big pack was behind them. But the man to look out for was the number 3 of Mike Katrowski, yes, the motocross expert, and he was on the move. He took over the top spot, and the outdoorsman proved he could run on the man-made course as he took the big lead and the checkers. Jeff Stanton followed in second, with Mike LaRocca third, Jeremy McGrath fourth, and Doug Henry fifth.
It's time once again to announce the weekly winner of the Safety Clean We Care Pocono Track Fact Sweepstakes. Congratulations go out to Neil Kuntz of Canton, Ohio, who knew that Ken Schrader won both pole positions for Winston Cup races at Pocono last year. By knowing the correct answer, when he called, Neil picks up some valuable prizes. Here's how you can enter.
Just send your name, address, and phone number to Pocono Raceway Safety Clean We Care Track Fact Sweepstakes, care of Pocono Raceway, Post Office Box 500, Long Pond, Pennsylvania, 18334-0500. Weekly winners receive $500 in cash and tickets to one of 2 Winston Cup races at Pocono. The grand prize winner gets an all-expenses-paid trip to the June 12th Pocono 500 and $2,000 cash.
Race Day is brought to you in part by Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light. It doesn't get any better than this. And by Mopar Chrysler Corporation Parts and the Chrysler Plymouth, Dodge, Dodge Truck, Jeep, and Eagle dealers who sell and install them.
And welcome back live to the Classic Museum here in Daytona Beach, Florida. We have already told you about the biggest races that make up Bike Weeks, but let me tell you, that's only a fraction of what's been going on. Besides all of the action at Daytona International Speedway, over at Municipal Stadium, the dirt trackers have been getting their chance to shine. Here's a wrap-up of some of the late action.
Friday night, it looked more like a rally than a race with 115 bikes on hand for the 600 race. Then it was shaved down to 60 to qualify. In the early heats, there were a couple of upsets. Chris Carr and Scott Parker were in the same field. Two would advance to the main. Carr had no problem, but Parker had plenty of trouble. He didn't make the main. Heat number 2, another upset. Number 42, Steve Moorhead, was on fire all week, but tonight he had some troubles. This was the epitome of the frustration he felt. He missed the main also. Moving on to the feature race, Wilt Davis in the 21 was on the pole. Right beside him, running wheel to wheel, was Carr. The two were neck and neck all the way, but then past the midway point, Carr took to the inside, and that was all it took. Chris Carr was the winner. Davis followed in second, Aaron Hill was third, Terry Poovey fourth, and Kevin Barnes was fifth. Saturday night, it was much of the same with Carr out front in the 750 race. He was on the pole, and he was being chased by number 18, Terry Poovey. The two paddled back and forth into the turns and down the straightaways, but it was clear to see that Carr had the bike to beat. As he lapped the field, there was some speculation he may run into trouble, but no dice. He was easy winning, and he made it a clean sweep at Municipal Stadium. Behind Carr was Terry Poovey in second, Brett Land was third, Rich King fourth, and Will Davis was fifth.
And joining me now to tell us more about this weekend and about the upcoming Grand National Dirt Track season is last night's winner and the night before that's winners and the night before that's winner. 3 in a row, Chris Carr, and you lost your voice. We've been hollering from jubilation for the last hour, I suppose.
Well, from the looks of the tape, I think I was yelling at lap riders last night there toward the end of the race. But I just woke up this morning. It was kind of freaky, but I'll take a sore throat after 3 wins, no problem.
And when's the last time you put 3 back-to-back?
Well, I've never done it here in Daytona before, and I can't remember the last time I won 3 professional races in a row.
This place, you had a standing room only crowd out there, and of course it's just tradition. I mean, it's still Daytona, and everybody, whether you're over there racing or over at the big track racing, everybody wants to come down here and win. That track out there is awful difficult, though.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I mean, we had 115 entries at the Grand National last night, and only 60 riders qualified for the program. It's kind of like going to Vegas and throwing dice and hoping that you don't throw snake eyes, and I was fortunate enough that I rolled some 7s, and we were able to win 3 races in a row.
Or watching some footage there, you know, you really use that left leg a lot, and particularly when you get a racetrack that's this slippery out there, it just seems like you've got to have perfect timing to be able to work around any of the lap traffic that's out there.
Well, there's no doubt about it. There's not a whole lot of room for error on that particular racetrack. There's a little narrow patch all the way around the track that's pretty tacky as far as getting traction, but then you'll hit spots that are real slippery, so the bike will step around on you. You just got to, you know, maneuver the motorcycle in different ways with body English and throttle control to keep the wheels in line as much as possible, and that's where it took to win this week, and I was able to do it.
Are you as good right now as you've ever been? People often, you know, talk about hitting the zone and hitting that one stride in their career when they're just the best at what they're doing. Do you feel like that's where you're at right now?
I think I'm pretty close. I don't know that I've reached my fullest potential yet. I still feel that the best of what I have to offer is yet to come, and this weekend was the start of that, and I feel really confident about 1994, and the opportunity for me to go out there and win the championship again, I think, is better than ever.
Well, you guys have got a more extended schedule this year than you've had in the past. Not that many more races, but a few more, and it's a demanding schedule that you face. I mean, to win a championship, you got to have it all going in the right direction. Certainly Harley-Davidson makes that easy for you.
Well, there's no doubt about it. I've been riding for the Harley-Davidson Motor Company for about 8 years now, and I'm really starting to gel with my mechanic, Kenny Tolbert of Fort Worth, Texas. We're on our sixth year together. And I think things are going to be good for us. Harley's got a new sponsor from RC Cola this year, and they're giving some financial assistance to the team, and maybe that'll allow an opportunity for some other companies to get involved in dirt track racing as well, because we haven't seen a whole lot outside the industry, and I think that's good things for dirt track in general for the future.
I saw a lot of riders that had leathers with names on them this past week. When your next event is when for you guys?
April 23rd at Cal Expo in Sacramento, California is the first mile of the year, and and the second of 23 rounds.
Good. We'll keep our eye on you all year long. Great. Congratulations on a great day.
Thank you very much.
That's going to do it for this edition of Race Day. Before we go, we'd like to tell you that next Sunday on Race Day, a new open-wheel racing series will be announcing its plans for 1994. You don't want to miss that. It's going to be unique, so be sure to watch. Until then, I'm Pat Patterson. We'll leave you with a look at some of the sights and sounds of Bike Weeks 94. So long, everybody.
Hey, welcome to Daytona. Happy Bike Week.
Transportation provided by Cedar Ridge RV Center of Branchville, New Jersey. Call 1-800-988-4884 and find out why Cedar Ridge is the choice of champions. Communications provided by Racing Electronics, the official communications of Race Day. For a free catalog, call 1-800-272-7111. And by Featherlight Trailers, the official trailer of NASCAR and major sponsor of the NHRA. Remember to call Featherlight for all your trailer needs at 1-800-800-1230.